welcome to Ekate's Crossing as we continue our exploration of the Native American Tarot. So let's look, what card are we actually going to reflect on with this message? What card are we going to reflect on with this? Let's have a look. What Native American Tarot, what message is important for us right now? Whoa! Okay, a couple of cards flew out. So let's have a look. What have we got here? Okay, we've got Chief of Shields and Harvesting. Okay, this is an interesting Chief of Shields because I feel like he is always, from a practical approach, trying to move forward, but he's looking at past experiences now. Sorry about that in regard to the cards. Right, my glasses. So let's see. Right, so the first card we look at here is the Chief of Shields. Now, the Chief of Shields for me is someone who is normally about sort of business practices, health and well-being, material aspects. Someone who maybe approaches with a very sort of earthy, down-to-earth sort of energy, trying to make sure they stay grounded as they come with practical ideas and thoughts to solutions to things going on. They feel like they're not always in a rush. They always sort of take their time. They think very quickly. They look at their experiences from the past, to their knowledge, or their very much about their approach to life always comes from what they've gained from the past here. Seems to be very important as you move forward on your journey. Your past experiences are going to benefit what you harvest or what you bring into your life. With the 10 of Shields here, the sense of having the sense of completion, preparing for the next stage. Feels like you've ended one cycle and you're sort of starting again in regards to this. So it feels very much like you're reaping the rewards for all your hard work. So that comes from that sense of practical approach. Now let's sort of dive a little deeper into these cards. So the first card was the Chief of Shields. It's very interesting that we're looking at shields here. So let's have a look at the Chief of Shields. Whew. Okay, Chief of Shields from the book. Let's have a look. I'm tired of fighting. Our chiefs are dead. Looking Glass is dead. Tuhul Soti is dead. The old men are all dead. It is the young men who say yes or no. He who lead the young men is dead. It is cold and I have no blankets. The children are freezing to death. My people, some of them have run away to the hills and have no blankets. No one knows where they are, perhaps freezing to death. I want to have time to look for my children and see how many of them I can find. Maybe I shall find them among the dead. Hear me, my chiefs. I am tired. My heart is sick and sad. From where the sun now stands, I will war no more forever. Chief Joseph Hinmatuya Latket. Thunder rolling in the mountains. Nez Perce Allard, 1977. Okay, so this is quite interesting. So it says here that the Nez Perce nations, whose territories were part of what is now the states of Washington and Idaho, were divided into two major bands, the upper and the lower. In 1871, the leadership of part of the lower band was passed on to Hinmatuya Latket, known to Americans as Young Chief Joseph. The Nez Perce as a whole were horsemen with a cherished wealth of thousands of horses, many of which were the famous Blue Appaloosas, traditional Nez Perce war and the hunting horses. The horses were named after the Palouse River in southwestern Washington state, since many were bred in the surrounding rolling hills. Chief Joseph's warhorse Ebenezer was an Appaloosa. The spotted stallion was famous enough in its own right to be mentioned in the local Walla Walla newspaper whenever Joseph rode into town. A successful horse thief was honoured for stealing enemy ponies, required stealth and bravery. Even greater daring was demanded of one who would make peace with an enemy. Some of the most renowned Native American leaders were peace chiefs, among them Chief Joseph. When he consented to give up his homeland and moved to reservation, he said, I said in my heart, that rather than have war, I would give up my country. I would give up everything rather than have the blood of the white men upon the hands of my people. But an honourable peace is not always possible, especially when members on the same side are at odds. Joseph was forced to make his concessions due to the machinations of the US government, and the chief of the Upper Nez Perce lawyer government agent signed a treaty with Lawyers Band and arbitrarily named him head chief of the Nez Perce. The government then claimed that because Lawyer was head chief, the treaty also granted to the government the lands of the Lower Nez Perce. The Lower Nez Perce had received no treaty goods, had not taken part in signing ceremonies. When peace commissioners declared that the Wallows Valley, where Chief Joseph and his people lived, had been sold, Joseph replied, "Suppose a white man should come to me and say, 'Joseph, I like your horses, I want to buy them.' I say to him, 'No, my horses suit me, I will not sell them.' Then he goes to my neighbour and says to him, 'Joseph has some good horses, I want to buy them,' but he refuses to sell. My neighbour answers, 'Pay me the money and I will sell you Joseph's horses.' The white man returns to me and says, 'Joseph, I have brought your horses and you must let me have them.' If we sold our lands to the government, this is the way they brought it." Allard in 1977. Regardless of the why and how of it, Joseph and his people agreed to keep the peace and to comply. The day before they were due on the reservation, they were rounding up horses and cattle when a gang of whites attacked, ran off with the cattle, stole some horses, and killed one of the natives. This was the second murder by whites by one of Joseph's band, and because the first crime went unavenged, the young warriors could not be restrained. They attacked the settlement of Whitebird Creek in Idaho, killing 18 to 21 people in a night and a day of vengeance, the war having begun. Howard's troops were ordered in, and after 72 years of peace, the Nez Perce were finally actively hostile to the whites. Interesting. Okay, so on Chief of Shields, Chief Joseph is shown mounted on Ebenezer. He turns in the saddle, looking behind him as if checking his back trail, holding a shield with the symbol of a pinioned owl on it. The owl is a badge of wisdom and longevity. Joseph Lodge has a buffalo emblazoned on it. His horse stands next to the undergrowth common to the fringes of mountain forests. The Chief of Shields is energy, endurance, capacity and leadership and steadfastness. He is like a super Boy Scout, competent, ingenious, thoughtful, cautious, trustworthy, superturbable. He has a capacity for adapting circumstances to fit his needs. His work slowly and steadily and is entirely lacking in emotions. A bit insensitive, he makes little effort to cope with or even understand anything outside his ken. Though possibly a spiritual leader, he is not overly spiritual. He is slow to anger, but when driven he becomes implacable. Psychologically, the chief is an empire builder. He is a very practical man and learns not only from his own mistakes, but from the mistakes of others as well. This is a materialistic man which means positively that he is a good and faithful provider, if not a romantic lover. Badly aspected, the Chief of Shields could be unscrupulous, caring only for personal gain and power. All his positive qualities become degraded. Others' reactions to the Chief of Shields will depend on his own temperaments and prejudice. An interesting card there, looking at the Chief of Shields in a sort of a deeper sense, just to sort of get a sort of a meaning from what it means from the book. I mean, you can say what you want about the Chief of Shields. What does the Chief of Pentacles or the King of Pentacles mean to you? What does the Chief of Shields mean to you? What does the image and the card mean to you when you look at it in context, maybe to a question or a thought? Now we're talking about general here, so in me I'm always thinking about, your past experiences allow you to, if you can acknowledge your past experiences, it allows you to sort of move forward on your journey in a more practical way to gain wealth in your journey, to gain wealth. That's very, very important. So let's have a look and see what the Ten of Harvest is, and a Ten of Shields is in this book in regards to harvest. Let's just have a look and see what it says. West wind time, painted leaves time, tobacco drying time, harvest. Time to gather, time to reap, time to store, Thanksgiving. Flora and fauna who gave their all that humankind may live. Give away. We are humble, we are grateful, we are blessed. Invocation. Star Spider Woman, Kentucky Mountain Shawnee. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of details. I'm just going to look at the message here. The essence of harvest is new methods. A change of viewpoint can bring knowledge, wisdom, and reward. However, a little learning can be a dangerous thing. Reverse is speculation without the benefit of proper research can lead to cash flow problems. The catchphrase is harvest. Physically, so if you're asking something physically about the situation, unexpected financial gain. Mentally, so if you're asking about your intellect or your mental thoughts or ideas, the capacity for the process of and the rewards of learning something new. If you're talking about your emotions on some level, the other side of depression. So it's the other side of depression. So it feels like you've moved through you've been able to process how you felt emotionally to be able to move forward on your journey. Spiritually, harvest of understanding. So if you're talking about your spiritual journey, harvest of understanding, which is the momentum that takes us from knowledge to wisdom. Okay, so that's quite interesting there when you look at the Ten of Shields. Okay, so it just gives you a little bit more details. You know, I do my initial thought in regards to being able to look forward, look backwards, acknowledge the past, to be able to move forward, to, in a practical sense, to have the sense of moving on to a new cycle in your life, being able to sort of move forward on your path by reaping the rewards of what you've gained by experiencing the knowledge, by acknowledging your past with the experiences of the past. So that's quite interesting to sort of dive into a little deeper there. Okay, so that's it for me for today. Don't forget to check the links down below, check the links on my channel, like, subscribe and ring the bell so you know when the next video will be uploaded. Take care. Blessed be.